Right, we'll call the meeting to order. This is the Airport Advisory Commission, 4 PM Tuesday, April 11th. City Engineer Joe Stadheim, I'll just serve purpose of getting this meeting started until a chair is elected, which is, next item on the agenda is election of officers. Commission members, we need to elect a chair and vice chair, and then I am proposing that city staff perform secretarial duties. So if that's the wishes of the commission, we would be willing to do that with city staff. So at this time, I would open nominations for the chair of the commission. Our last chair has termed out, and that was Tyler Zollner. Our vice chair last year was Wayne Clausen. Mr. Clausen's unable to be here today. So.
Joe, did I misunderstand? Were there some people who were nominated at the December meeting? I couldn't get there.
So that was for the 2022 term year. So
I see.
Since we're in the new calendar year, we need to go
Okay.
through the process again.
Thank you.
Yep.
I really can't this year, so would.
The other option would be if the commission so wishes, I can serve as chair and pro tem until we have a full commission to do elections, if that's your wishes as well. So it's completely up to you. We could table it till the next meeting, or if someone's willing to take on that role, we can certainly do that today as well.
I think it would be good to postpone it until we have more members here, because it's kind of a surprise when you get nominated by not being somewhere. So just out of courtesy, I think we could postpone.
Those are usually the ones that get nominated.
That's what I mean.
They don't put up much fight.
That's true. Be unanimous.
Right, Mr. Lupke, then would that be your motion to table until we have a full commission?
Yeah, so moved.
Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to table elections until we have the full commission available. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Next item on the agenda today is approval of minutes from December 13th, 2022. Commission members, what are your wishes?
Motion to approve the minutes from the December 13th meeting.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the minutes as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, old business. Jump into update on the status of the airport terminal parking lot project. Commission members, so staff has been working with Mead & Hunt, our consultant engineer, on this project, moving forward with the reconstruction of the the terminal building, parking lots, and kind of the sidewalk and area around the terminal building. So what this project would include is the reconstruction of all the bituminous pavement out to the taxiway area by our FBO hangar and the electrical vault building. And then on the entrance road out to the location, there's a pretty substantial crack kind of where airport road starts and stops. So that would include the limits of that project. It would also include the sidewalk area, the entire sidewalk area adjacent to the terminal building. This area here. The existing handicap stalls are not ADA compliant. This project would make those stalls compliant and then just replace kind of that circular planting area that's out at the hangar as well. So that would be removed, and then there'd be opportunities to add just pots and things like that afterwards, since that planter will no longer be there. Right now, we have open bids for that project. Minnesota Paving and Materials out of Mankato was the low bidder at $99,808.05. That came in 54% underneath the engineer's estimate, so very good bids. So with those results, we are now in the grant application phase for this project. The award has been conditionally approved for this contract, but we are awaiting final funding from the FAA and state on that grant application, which takes some time before we get that. So assuming that grant process goes smoothly, we would start construction sometime this summer. Timeline, I don't know yet, but we will notify the best to our ability once that project does begin.
Question
Yep.
for you, Joe.
Yep.
You mentioned that the bid on the parking lot project came in at 99,000, which was about half what was expected. Where was the next bid?
MR Paving and Excavating here in New Ulm was the next bid, and they were 10 or 15,000 above.
Okay.
So
Any-
relatively competitive bids.
Any concerns about the low bid being inaccurate, missing something?
Sure. Mr. Firth and commission members, that's a good question. That was reviewed, and the unit prices were much less than what was expected, just based on the current bidding environment. Bean Hunt had a similar project up in, I want to say Detroit Lakes, I believe, and they kind of based their estimate off of those prices that they saw up there, and ours just happened to come in much, much lower than what they were anticipating. So the bids were examined for being balanced, and everything seemed balanced and not out of order. So,
Thank you.
yep. So, with-
Joe, you said that it was anticipated that that project would get going this summer.
correct.
Would it be concluded? I mean, is it a short?
Yeah,
quick
I
project?
would expect this to only last a couple of weeks. It should go
Okay,
relatively
it's not like a
quickly.
major dig down like when they redid
Correct.
the tarmac last year.
Yeah, yep, correct. So this project is really just a mill and overlay of the existing bituminous surface.
okay.
The part that's going to take the longest would be the concrete work, because all that curb and gutter and sidewalk will have to come out. So
Oh,
really,
that has to, is that part of the ADA? That
Yep.
the
Yep.
curb and gutter has to be replaced? Okay.
yeah, and it's, instead of trying to piecemeal it together, it's more cost effective just to replace it all, since there's so little of it.
Yeah.
That'll really take the longest as part of this project, so I expect it to go relatively smoothly and quickly. There's no subgrade work or anything like that that's included, so that's, assuming we get our grant monies. So we can't start that till we get that grant completed, so we're just waiting on that at this time. Any other questions on this item? This was just a informational item. I don't have any action for the commission to take on that item, so.
There isn't any concern about the grant process? I know some years grant processes run very smoothly, and some years there's a lot of starts and stops and hiccups along the way, but it's been running pretty smooth lately.
Yeah, we don't, Mead and Hunt really takes care of all this for us, and they don't anticipate any issues with that grant being awarded in a timely manner. Even if it's delayed till mid to late summer, the project duration is still short enough where it's not going to cause project delays, so.
Good.
And the grant's in early enough where hopefully we can get through that process, so. Any other questions on the parking lot? All right, then we'll jump into update on the status of the 2024 AIP grant applications. Oops. All right, commission members, just want to give you an update of what we're proposing to work on for our 2024 grant application. A lot of this would be entitlement money and bill money that's available through the federal government. So we're proposing design service work in fiscal year 2023 and then construction in 2024 on this project. So this project would include the relocation of the fuel system from its current configuration in the infield area, kind of straight out from the terminal building, relocating that to the south, kind of, if you see my hand on the screen there, that area,
South end of the taxiway.
south end of the taxiway, kind of where we are also proposing taxi lane expansion, kind of in that area as well. So it depends on how the grant process plays out, what all would be included in that project, if it's just the fuel system as a standalone, or if we can also get the entitlement funds and build grant funds to do that taxi lane expansion in the areas of the proposed box hangar locations, which would be east of the city's heated hangar, that box hangar, because it's our proposal to move forward with this, so we can open up some development lots for private box hangars to be built on the airport property as well. And then as part of that, at some future date, this would not be included with our application at this time, but as part of the airport layouts plan approval process, the state FAA and MnDOT has indicated that their new design standards do not allow for the direct connection of the apron area to the runway. They want that jog in there. So coming out from the apron to taxiway, and then there'd be another turn movement to the runway. As just new design standards they have. So at some future date, not necessarily included with this project, but that's why that existing taxiway is noted in red on your agenda packet information. So that's why that's shown in that fashion. But our main focus would be fuel farm and then extension of this taxiway as well. If enough funds are available, we would also like to do this access road, whoops, wrong button. This access road as well, that would come in off of Airport Road, would primarily serve as the access route for fuel delivery. So they can be separated from the airfield. We want to have that cross traffic between delivery trucks, bulk fuel, and aviation traffic. So.
Joe, I also noticed in the current tie-down area, looks like they're adding another, 4 or 5 feet to the apron?
Yep, so that's just
Is that some design standard to
correct.
get the spacing better from the building?
Yep,
Okay.
so we have more wingtip clearance between the building and those
Okay.
tie downs, yep. So again, this has been updated to reflect the changes. It's actually been conditionally approved by the FAA. I have an old copy that says draft, but it has been conditionally approved, so we are very close to having the airport layout plan update complete as well. But from the commission today, if it's your wishes, I guess we would just like a motion to recommend that we keep moving forward in this fashion, if that's your wishes here today. Or if there's any other questions, I can certainly answer those as well.
Just one quick question. I see that part of the plan, they want to reposition the AWAS. Do you know where that's going to be moving to? I see
Good
where it's
question. I was
from.
going to touch on that a little bit later, but we can certainly touch on that now.
Pardon me.
So the AWAS location, right now, the equipment is old, needs to be replaced, and the current location does not meet any current sitting criteria, not even close. So not too long ago, we decommissioned the, what's the right word I'm looking for? There's not a beacon, but there was a piece of equipment that was decommissioned to the south, and I don't know if I have a figure that can, maybe I got one in here. Let's see here. There we go. So we had I just can't think of the right term, but we had a piece of equipment that was decommissioned kind of out in this area. So we have a power run out there. It may need to be upgraded. That's to be determined once we get into the design work. But the AWAS would be located in this area. There may be a few trees that are on the airport property that we may need to clear and grub. But as far as the other sitting requirements, it fits in that location just perfectly. As far as distance from the runway, taxiway, and then our ground cover clearance as well. So
So the material is old or outdated, the equipment?
Correct.
And
Yeah,
as long
and
as we had to replace it,
Yeah,
design
MnDOT
standards want it in a different spot?
Correct, yeah. So being that it's, MinDOT really maintains the AWAS systems, they've identified it and said we need to replace it, so they told us more or less to start the design process for the civil work to make that a reality. So we've done that. We're working with Mead and Hunt. We have a task order with them for this work. It's actually going to go to City Council for approval at the next meeting. Design work would start with 2024 construction. And as far as the AWAS system's concerned, the city would participate with the grant funds for the civil site work to get the site ready for the AWAS, and the state supplies all the equipment for the AWAS for that weather station and does all the installations. So we may have to, communications would be the other thing, and we have clear visibility from the terminal building to the proposed site for the AWAS. So that shouldn't be an issue as well. So that's that update on the AWAS. Right, any other questions on the 2024 grant application for the fuel system or the taxi lane extensions?
When do they want that taxi lane done by? Is there any timeline on it?
No, it's really, assuming we can get the grant funds, it's more of a, us as a city-driven project than it is any FAA or MnDOT. Our goal is to get it extended so we have room for private development to occur on the airport for box hangers. We have had a couple inquiries, but just being that we don't have any land or facilities available for that, that's kind of a hindrance to that. So it's kind of a build it and hopefully they will come type of situation. But a lot of that it would be participated with the FAA and MnDOT in that cost for that work.
Well, I propose a motion that we move forward with approval of the plans and anticipated projects as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Is that Jay or Tom? Okay, thank you. Sorry. We have a motion and a second to recommend that we continue forward with these projects. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Next item on the agenda, commission members, is I just wanted to provide a brief update on the zoning ordinance update. I can probably say we're done. It's been completed. The update was adopted back in December 14th of last year. And the Joint Airport Zoning Board has then since been decommissioned and relieved of their duties. So just again, wanted to thank our commission members. It was Ms. Gear and then Mr. Clausen. And then we had Tony Berg and Keith Marty were the county appointees, and Dave Schnulbrick, our community development director, served as chair of that committee. Lots of meetings, some good public involvement during the public hearing portion of that, and ultimately we got agency approval as well, and that was adopted. So that's a big check mark off the to-do list, and we're very, very pleased that's completed. I did include the copy of the ordinance in your agenda packet. It is also on the city's website for anybody to review as well. So if there's any questions on that, I could be happy to answer them. Otherwise, we'll continue moving forward. And again, no action was needed, just more of a information for the commission. Right, then under new business would be the airport capital improvement plan. More so than anything else, I just wanted to share this with the commission just so you can see kind of what is in the airport CIP. A lot of things that are included in here are obviously grant dependent because a lot of the costs, as you can see, some of these are pretty big ticket items, and it's not necessarily doable by the city alone. So a lot of these require state and federal grants to aid with completion of these projects. As you can see, 2024, we're due for we're going to hopefully start the process for that crosswind runway relocation, and I do have an update on that as well that I'll share here shortly. So a lot of this work is kind of dependent on us getting funding for that crosswind runway. So as we've previously discussed, crosswind runways are not necessarily a priority of the FAA or MnDOT, even though they may be warranted. So with that approach, knowing that we can't fund it without any assistance as a city, we've taken the steps to meet with our Congressman Finstead about this project, requesting what used to be called entitlement funds to complete this project. So we met with him back on April 3rd, met him up at the airport, gave him a tour. He had 2 staff members with him as well. Kind of shared the need, why we are asking for the funds for relocating that crosswind runway. Meeting went very well. He can't promise us anything, but we're on the short list. That's in our mind, that's very promising. That if the dominoes fall where they may, then we might be sitting in good shape to receive that funding to the tune of about $2.5 million that would assist with property acquisition and then ultimately construction of a new, the 927 alignment for the crosswind runway. So more to be learned on that one, I guess, for lack of a better term, once all the projects are awarded funds and things of that nature. But it is something that city staff is actively pursuing. So if that were to happen, that would really take care of a lot of those fiscal year 24 items related to that crosswind runway. Other items included within the CIP is AWAS replacement, which we touched on, and replacing our mower equipment. That includes the tractor and mower and blower and everything that's included with that as well. As you
For the fueling station, you're not replacing the tanks, you're just moving the tanks?
It would be new tanks, yeah. So right now, so the new system would be actually above-ground tanks. The existing system is underground. We're having issues with it. It's at the end of its useful life. We had issue a couple of years ago where we had to actually clean it out because we had some water get in. So they're old, and with underground tanks, we're experiencing the problems that old underground tanks have. So, and just the equipment and.
Are we sealing them, or are we fully removing them?
They'd be fully removed, yep.
I think the AP requires that.
Yep. Yeah, we can't keep them in anymore, so,
And then you find out if there was leaks.
yeah, right, yep.
Yeah.
You have to do the environmental studies, then you have to keep digging, and then you have to,
Bill, question back to the funding. Is the air traffic going to increase out there due to the new armory?
That's a good question, and we're not sure. The Armory, or National Guard hasn't necessarily indicated one way or another if they're gonna use the airport for bringing in, aviation equipment for servicing or anything like that. I kind of expect that they would, being that they're right next to it, but they have not indicated that.
Do they not have access to the runway?
From their property, they do not.
Okay.
And they have not inquired about having a connection, so, maybe it's not a short term, but I could see it sometime in the future, it'd make perfect sense to have a connection.
Just as a local citizen, I assumed that was
Right,
part of the reason for putting it out there, was for that handy access. But I'm just wondering that, right now there isn't any real relationship between the airport and the National Guard, other than we're just neighbors up there.
right.
But if there ever is a closer relationship like a runway, and they start using our airport more, that may open up another set of funding
Sure, yeah,
to us.
yeah, and, yeah, I guess more to be determined on that one.
Sure.
We
I
haven't,
can't believe they wouldn't want to.
yeah, it would make
I mean,
logical
geez.
sense, being that they're right there,
Yeah.
so.
Well, currently, the staffing of the guard in New Ulm here is strictly ground transportation and artillery maintenance. They don't have any airplane mechanic or airplane-related
Right.
people working there, but they only have a handful of people, and they are short people. So if they get a couple more people, maybe that would be something they could expand into. But I don't see that on their plan at this point.
Yeah, and, it's, aviation mechanics are hard enough to come by. I'm sure Brian from North Star can talk on that as well, but, so yeah, a lot of it's staffing and having the right personnel to perform that work too, so.
Well, and, in a, God forbid, an emergency situation, to be able to fly something or someone right up to the door
Right.
is something they haven't had in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the possibilities are certainly there.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a future discussion with the Guard, so. But something that's been asked kind of, actually quite a bit from the public, just in conversations I had with people on that topic, so. I guess any other discussion or questions on the proposed CIP? And just for the commission's information, this is something that gets updated pretty annually with Mead and Hunt, kind of, again, takes care of this work for us. Making sure that, everything's taken care of as we move into the future from pavement maintenance and everything else moving forward. So. And we touched on that, right? Just, I guess, on, as far as this CIP, I guess I'd be looking for just a recommendation that the CIP is approved by the commission if you so choose today. Or if there's more items that we need clarification on, we can bring it back for the next meeting as well.
Did all the 2023 things get done?
Yeah, we are waiting on the mower equipment, so I'm hoping, so mower equipment, that would replace our small rider that we have out there. We're actually going to replace that with a 90, I think it's like a 92 or a 96-inch rider that the part-timers use up there during the summer, so. We're still waiting for that grant to come through. I'm hoping it's sooner rather than later, because at this rate, we probably won't get it till fall with material delays, so.
Well, I noticed the price for the mower in the 23 budget and 24 budget are the same. So are they getting two of the same types of mowers, or I thought,
That might just be either a duplication error. I'm pretty sure our tractors do up or is getting close to replacement, so that might just either be a copy and paste error. I'll have to talk to Brian Page
Okay.
about that with
Good.
me.
Because
Two new
the-
ones?
big,
Two new ones, or that just moved?
I was
Get a
asking,
single, yeah.
That's just
Okay.
moved ahead to the next year, I guess, huh?
or they, well, like you said, it might have just been a duplication, because the big tractor, that's the snow removal equipment, correct? In
SRE, yeah, in
2025.
25, right.
Okay, so that 24 is either a duplicate or an error.
Yeah.
Or it didn't get done in 23 and they just moved it to 24 because it's at the end.
Yeah.
Not, see, I haven't, so that's
thinking.
funded by the state, so it's
With the same dollar amount.
possible the state said, no, you're not getting it in 23, so they put it in 24.
Well,
So,
long story short, there's two items coming, not three.
Yep,
Okay.
correct.
Could you go back to our site plan and show where the new proposed hangar for 2025 would be located?
Let's see, there we go. Oops, went too far. So that would be more Ts, and
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah, so that would be, assuming we get the taxi lane extended, so we have a couple options. We could do another city box, or we could do another set of Ts, so.
So the current hangars on that northwest edge would be removed?
So just
Like the old DNR hangar? and-
Correct, the DNR hangar, we would raise that and then keep the Ts and the boxes separate. That's our ultimate plan.
Okay.
So we just kind of have to see how the grant funding shakes out, because those are 70/30 cost splits on hangars. And that's probably something that would be pretty easy for the council to decide they didn't want to fund. We'll just have to see how the next couple budget cycles go for that. But we include them on the CIP whether or not they get constructed or not, because if they're not on the CIP, they're not grant eligible. So it's kind of a semi-wish list as well. Right. Any further discussion? Again, if the commission so wishes, I would look for a motion to recommend the CIP approval.
So moved.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second to recommend approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. That motion will carry. Commission members, that's all I had on the agenda for you today. I guess at this time, it'd be a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
Motion and second for adjournment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. That motion carries. We are adjourned.